afternoon, everyone. So welcome to our session titled Blue-Green Synergy, Enhancing Climate Resilience in the Asia-Pacific Regions. My name is Hak-seok Ryu. I'm the Director of Department of Partnerships and Governance at Global Green Growth Institute, which is an international organization whose focus is solely on green growth. So this is quite unique. So today we have an esteemed panel of experts who will share their insights and experiences on how we can better prepare for and respond to the challenges posed by climate change. Before we dive into the discussion, I'd like to introduce our keynote speaker and panelists very briefly. So our opening presenter today is Dr. Bora Lee, Research Officer of Mangrove Research Center, National Institute of Forest Science, Korea. And also joining us on the panel, we have Maduria Kumar-Dutta, Director of Trade Investment Facilitation at Mekong Institute, which is an also international organization. Marion Tribalge, Senior Associate of ASEAN Regional Program at GGGI, and Dr. Deok-Hoon Han, Director General for International Cooperation Division at Korea Maritime Institute, KMI, and Silvestre Zales, Development Management Officer of Mindanao Development Authority in Philippines. So indeed, we are honored to have such a distinguished group with us today. So now I am honored to introduce Dr. Bora Lee. She is a researcher specializing in plant ecology and environmental science. She currently serves as a research officer at the Mangrove Research Center, part of the Warm Temperate and Subtropical Forest Research Center under the National Institute of Forest Science in Jeju since 2020. She is leading the only official mangrove research project supported by the Korea Forest Service. So I would like to invite our keynote speaker to deliver the opening presentation. The floor is yours. So why don't we give a big round of applause to her?
Thank you. Well, my institute name is so long, so I'm a little bit worried. So should I tell the whole my affiliation, like it's from the Mangrove Research Center to National Forest Science? So, but he already introduced my affiliation, so I don't have to repeat. So I think this is the center in Korea study about the mangroves. Well, we are still in early stage of the studying concept of blue-green synergy. So today, rather than presenting final result, I hope share ongoing idea and insight in our mangrove project, and from forest science perspective, and more personally from my own reading journey in this field. Well, here is many different experts, and just to remember, I'm from the forest section, but this is not only one talking about one section. So I would like to get some insight from you. So before we begin, so we all know and we must remember why the ecosystem is important, because it's a forest like vegetation and trees, they absorbing the greenhouse gases at the atmosphere already. So not just relevant, it's very critical in a climate solution. Well, actually, I'm a little bit nervous because I have several presentation, but I never give the presentation the related foreign affair division. So if I have something wrong or if you have any question, just let me know. So why this session matters? So why is topic so relevant right now? Because the ASEAN Pacific region is 60% of the world population and faces 73% of all climate-related disasters. So these are not just the statistics. This shows where the needs is the greatest. So, and while many climate solutions focus on the reducing emission, we must not lose sight of important role that ecosystems such as forest, like we say green component, and then mangroves, like a blue component, it plays carbon absorption and storage. So this session is an invitation to think beyond these two components in isolation and to consider the positive impact of managing them together. So let's define what is blue-green synergy. So when we talk about the blue and green in environmental management, we are talking about two vital ecosystems. So blue system refer to the water-based ecosystem like saltmarsh and mangroves, also some many coastal area watershed. And also when we talk about the green system, that is, they on the other hand refer to land-based ecosystem like such as forest and also urban park and also grassland. So traditionally, this land system seen as a major traditional terrestrial carbon sink, they plays a key role in air quality and temperature, and also temperature regulation and biodiversity on the land. So when we talk about synergy, the synergy happens when we remember to think them as combined together. So it's very mutually deeply connected each other. So for example, the fact healthy forests upstream help protect the coastal wetland, and also same time, the healthy mangroves can buffer inland area. So like they against the storm and they protect the coastal lines. So also supporting agriculture and settlement. So that is, these days I become very interested and also I'm a forest research section. So now is working near the coastal line. So why it's a synergy? So one key reason is environmental problem like a storm. Storm respect boundaries. Like when we think about the storm doesn't stop at the forest edge. Well, they just destroyed everything. And also at the same time, drought affect upstream, the reservoir, and they don't care about downstream fishery. So we cannot think separately. So when I finalized or analyzed the data near the coastline, and I can see the very strong proof they pattern the sediment by the soil erosions. So this connection becomes even clearer when we look at the degradations. If forest clear the upland, upstreams, more sediment flow the rivers. I think everybody know and everybody must understand what this happens. The sediment end up the mangroves and coral reef and choking their life on them. On the other hand, when we lose the mangrove, the development and coast become more vulnerable. So salt water and move inland, damaging agriculture, and also freshwater system at the same time, the fishery also affected. So what we found in integrated actions across the ecosystems, and the section lead a stronger and more scalable result. Like for example, policy protect both forest and coast at the same time can be more effective. We all know, but it's very difficult because every division or every section has their own project and own strategy. So, but it isn't just nature system at the same time. It also human security, very strongly related to human security, because many reasons in the mangrove area, they are rely on their mangrove ecosystems. They are directly affected by fishery and ecotourism and stability of coastline. So, sorry, it's not just science or policy. It's at the same time there is livelihood at the real time. So although this integrated vision is very recognized global initiatives also, so for example, Global Mangrove Alliance or Mangrove Alliance for Climate. So such as these kinds of initiatives, which include many nations and organizations, as they are emphasize cross-sector and also cross-ecosystems collaboration also. They focus not just pure restoration, they also very interested in and also considering things very important, the sustainable livelihood and resilience, and also communities, local communities. So then, how blue-green synergy works? I think everybody know about it. We just how to do it. so how we make this synergy real in practice? So we focus on 4 main building blocks. Joint planning, that is means bring together with different sectors. So like forestry, that's where I'm from. So fishery, here is Dr. Han, and agriculture and urban planning. And also create integrated land and water management and strategy. And also nature-based solution, we heard about this MBS 100 times these days, and use the power of nature system to provide resilience, like using mangroves to buffer wave instead of building concrete seawalls. So ecosystem connections, they refer to linking habitats corridors between forest and coast, or watershed and connected mountainous seas. And finally, community engagement. That is very important. It's one of the most important things when we talk about blue-green synergy. So none of this works without people. We all know. So local community must be involved, not only beneficially, but as a partner and leaders. So now I would like to introduce the project from NIFOS Jeju. So, NIFOS Jeju, that is, he already introduced warm, temperate, and subtropical forest research center. That is our official name. So it's too long, so we called NIFOS Jeju. So in our mangrove project, we try to apply the all 4. But as a scientist working within government institute and forest sector, so we recognize we can't implement every part directly ourselves. But some components like biomass modeling and carbon dynamics modeling are what we developed internally. Other like community engagement or coastal planning are supported indirectly through the data and model, and also collaborative framework we helped together and to build. Like for example, we have a nursery study in Vietnam, and also carbon absorption collaboration in Indonesia. So that kind of international partnership helped us to building this framework. So our project is started 2002. There is a baseline study mapping area. There's a semi-mangrove species grow naturally in Korea. Well, before I move to next slide, we have also mangrove species, but no, that is not the real mangrove, true mangrove. We have 2 different mangrove. So everybody knew when we talk about mangroves, the mangrove grows coastal line and they are root under the seas. But they also has a semi-mangrove or mangrove-associated species. They when mangrove forests appeared, they have associated together. So the semi-mangrove species, two semi-mangrove species grow naturally in Korea, only in Jeju. So it's a hibiscus that is, maybe if you have time to see, it look like this. And then two species, so in Jeju. So that's why we have the mangrove research project started, and then we want to combine the semi-mangrove species and mangrove, true mangrove. So 2003, we moved to practical implementation. So we worked nursery study in Vietnam, and also we began collaboration with C4 in Indonesia. In 2024, we expanded our project a little bit, the technical depths. So the project itself, two main categories, like a semi-mangrove and mangrove from abroad. Even there is different ecosystem and different environment, but we can find the solution, the combined methodology. And now this year, 2025, we reached a phase where we are sharing outcomes and supporting regional workshops. Well, we have 3 times international conference, and also we have planned next one in August. So this is a case study. I don't have to explain all details because there is the biomass estimation using the LiDAR data. There was I have only 2 case study that it's possible to apply the all abroad in the coastal line, not only in Korea, not only in Vietnam, not only in Indonesia. So we generate this canopy height model, so by the drone LiDAR, and this is when we constructed ground truth, and then it developed the model. So, and this one also used remote sensing image and fine resolution remote sensing image. So also developed, it can detect the change the forest boundary. So it's a land cover change, they detect change, land cover detecting. And also this is a kind of a bridge of scientific and practical goals. So it provides national level data, and at the time global level data, and also it's applied for the very local data. The communication can use it. So now I would like to show our project in international cooperation. So I mentioned already. So we started 2002, and then now is 2024. We have several field measurement in Bali and Vietnam, and also in Korea. And we have 3 times international symposium in Jeju, Bali, and Bogor. So we hosted also. We will host another symposium in this year. So it's this exchange like here. So whether scientific team and also institute and the university, it helps bridge gap between the blue and green carbon thinking. So well, they remind us the knowledge doesn't follow the only one way. So we learned just as much from partner and tropical country as they might from the Korean method. So, well, last year we opened a mangrove research center that is in Jeju. So there's not only now is we have an office. Well, this is my home message. I hope, well, this is my presentation message is followed well. This is not just only the final or conclude presentation, but my presentation clearly communicate. I think it's a start when we bring forest and coast together. So when we connect science with people, we can build something much stronger than either alone. So I'm still learning every day. So I'm a researcher early in my career. So, but I believe work we do, no matter how local and technical, has potential to support something much bigger. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. So indeed, she enlightened with us the importance of the mangrove. So now, why we are talking about mangrove? So maybe for some of you, maybe didn't, so haven't understood the importance of mangrove. But so when we are talking of the synergy between the blue and green, so we cannot say without touching upon the mangrove, since it is a plant and growing where the ocean meets the land. So mangrove is really important, and also the capability to absorb the carbon dioxide. Mangrove is one of the best plant, so out of the tropical systems. So so basically, so she has come from the forest side, so to strike a balance. So indeed, we invited one of the key scientists, so whose main interest is maritime. So let me introduce our first presenter, Dr. Deok-Hoon Han. So indeed, he is Director General for International Cooperation Division at the Korea Maritime Institute, Korea's only national maritime and fisheries policy research institute under the Prime Minister's office. He oversees the KMI, Center for International Development Cooperation, designated as the official ODA implementing agency by the Ministry of Oceans and Fisheries of Korea, and supports the planning, monitoring, and implementation of its 40 grant-based projects. Dr. Han's main areas of expertise include international ocean governance and regulations, marine environmental policy and strategies. So, Dr. Han, so why don't we come to the floor? And yes, so please give him a big round of applause. Yes.
Thank you, Chair, for your kind introduction, and good afternoon, everyone. Heard the Dr. Lee's presentation very well. It was quite interesting and pretty informative for me as well. So I will make some discussion, comment, including her presentation and what I prepared for today. It's my great honor for me to join this important forum today on behalf of Korea Maritime Institute, KMI. Today's session theme, Blue-Green Synergy Enhancing Climate Resilience in Asia-Pacific Region, is, I believe, it's a timely and so important topic. I underscores the limitation of the single sector approaches in addressing the climate crisis and highlights the importance of holistic approaches and integrate both terrestrial and marine systems. I fully support this approach, and it has become a central principle in KMI's international cooperation strategy. Before I touch upon my main discussion area, I would like to also briefly introduce about the KMI and then the Center for International Development Cooperation, which is playing a central role in coordinating Ministry of Oceans and Fisheries, MOF's whole ODA programs. It identifies and evaluates new ODA projects and monitor ongoing initiatives and facilitate some communication between implementing bodies and manage result-based performance and provides training and knowledge sharing platforms. KMI also acts as implementing agency for ODA program of MOF. Since 2021, we have partnered with the World Maritime University, WMU, to implement a catfish project to strengthen global compliance with the international regulation on IUU fishing. This project targets the Mediterranean countries in 2023 and Pacific Island countries in 2024, and this year West African countries and ASEAN countries next year, and Indian Ocean countries 2027. Separately, since 2022, we have supported the establishment of Kyrgyzstan National Center for Inland Fisheries, and we have also running a woman-focused fisheries capacity building program in Ghana. And also since 2014, KMI also runs the Yosu International Law of the Sea Academy in training global experts in ocean law. And recently, MOF and KMI jointly announced Korea's strategy and initiative on maritime cooperation, which is K-Ocean Economy Initiatives, KOEI, at two high-level summits. The first one was Korea Pacific Summit in 2023 and Korea Africa Summit in 2024. These initiatives aims to support sustainable ocean development based on 4 pillars. First one is climate action. Second one is sustainable fisheries and aquaculture. Third one is marine environmental protection, and the last one is capacity building in coastal states. In response to climate change, we think ocean plays a critical role. Covering 2/3 of the Earth's surface, it regulates global temperatures and absorb carbon dioxide and support vast ecosystems. However, despite its importance, the ocean has not received sufficient focus in climate resilience strategies. In my view, there is still a considerable gap in the integrating marine-based initiatives within international cooperation framework. Projects that link marine and terrestrial resilience, such as mangrove restoration aligned with coastal aquaculture or wetland restoration connected to carbon markets, are limited and should be significantly expanded in the future. I also like to define blue-green synergy as a framework where climate action, carbon neutrality, and ecosystem restoration are jointly pursued through the complementary interaction of land-based and ocean-based strategy. In recent years, Korea's government has emphasized cross-ministerial collaboration. The Office of International Development Cooperation of the Prime Minister's Office has been particularly vocal about the need for integrated and multi-sectoral development cooperation programs, and KMI is fully support this evolving policy direction. As a KMI plays a leading role in supporting MOF's ODA programs, I would like to share some broader example from Korea's maritime development cooperation, not limited by KMI's projects. First, the flagship example of blue and green cooperation is joint project between MOF and then Korea Forest Services joint project in Vietnam. Dr. Lee already highlighted about their cases. The official name from the MOF's side of this project is Technical Cooperation for Productivity Improvement of Aquaculture in Northern Vietnam. It is from 2022 to 2026. The total budget is $2.5 million. Another example is MOF and partnership in environmental management for the Sea of East Asia, which is PAMC, located in Philippines. Two organizations having some collaborative program to reduce marine plastic pollution in East Asian countries. From 2023 to 2028, the total cost is $8.5 million US, and initially targeting Timor-Leste and Philippines. And they are trying to expand to other countries in the future as well. This initiative not only protects marine ecosystem, but also promotes active engagement of local communities aligned with the Sustainable Blue Development Goals. And then third one is on a personal note, I had the opportunity to work on a KOICA-supported aquaculture master plan project in Sri Lanka in 2012, exploring the potential of mangrove-based shellfish farming in the Mannar region of Sri Lanka. This early experience showed me the deep interconnection between the local ecosystem and livelihood and sustainability. For the opportunities for the future blue-green synergy, I see 5 promising areas for advancing it. The first one is the developing blue carbon-based offset mechanisms. As you know, the enhancing carbon sink through mangroves and tidal flats and seagrass beds and seaweed is critical to climate action. We should promote a joint implementation project between donor and partner countries to expand the blue carbon initiatives and facilitate climate co-benefit. This will require collaborative research to establish standardized monitoring, reporting, and verification, MRV systems and methodologies. And second one is, Dr. Lee already highlighted it, but the scale of the coastal restoration and community participation, I think it's also important. And third one is promoting cross-ministerial and intersectional ODA integration. As I also highlighted before, Korean government ODA headquarters is highlighting the packaged program, holistic approach is important. So we think, I think that some cooperation between cross-sectoral approach is very important. So I think today's topic is touch upon that kind of areas. And fourth one is empowering women in fisheries and coastal development is very important. In many coastal nations, women handle fisheries post-harvest processing and distribution, as you know, supporting them through processing facilities upgrades and basic business skills teaching and supply chain improvements can reduce post-harvest losses and increase income, and also coastal development that integrate social, economic, and environmental goals can serve as a model of blue-green synergy. And finally, KMI is preparing a regional cooperation program with, like I said before, World Maritime University. So this kind of training program to fight against IUU fishing is also very crucial initiatives, aims not only to protect marine resources and ecosystems, but also safeguard livelihood and rights of coastal communities. As a closing remark, I would like to highlight the Asian Pacific countries should continue to work closely with the international organizations and Korean partners to build a stronger ocean-based climate resilience and together with land-based climate resilience. I believe that the blue-green synergy is not just a concept, but it is a practical pathway to solving today's intertwined challenges of climate, environment, and sustainable development. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Han. So indeed, he suggested a lot of keywords which complements what Dr. Lee already emphasized. So indeed, I really agree with the importance of holistic approach. So indeed, when we talk about the green and blue synergy, so you just imagine that. So if we put green color and blue color into a same bin, so what we will make out of the colors, it will be just the black. But black is not what we want. So we need to be more smart and strategic. When we are talking about the synergy, so we need to focus on how to create the synergy. So in the practices in the Korean kind of ministries, it is really difficult to make the relevant ministries who are working in this area cooperate closely. So it is really difficult. But in the international perspective, it will be more difficult. Faced with the threats posed by the climate change, so this is high time for us to revisit the importance of mangrove and how to make the green and blue synergies. So far we have had two sectoral experts enlightenment. So now it is my great pleasure to introduce Ms. Marion Trevalages. She is a project development and implementation professional with extensive experience in international cooperation and green growth initiatives. At the Global Green Growth Institute, she has contributed to multiple climate finance and sustainable projects, supporting resource mobilization, policy alignment, and project execution across the ASEAN regions. So indeed, her expertise spans circular economy, sustainable finance, and methane emissions mitigation. And personally, she comes from a remote island. She has a first-hand experience with the vital connection between healthy ocean ecosystems and sustainable green growth, reinforcing her commitment to addressing the challenges of climate change and environmental conservation. She is now with us on the floor, so why don't you give an applause? Yes. The floor is yours.
Thank you. So as mentioned by Haksok, I'm mainly involved in project implementation, development, and origination in the ASEAN countries. So when we look at blue-green growth synergies, actually the very definition of green growth already entails the blue element. And why so is because when we look at green growth strategies, it teaches us on how we can manage resource management in a sustainable way while respecting the environment and also driving growth in an economic standpoint. This includes land and water management. And land and water management are intertwined in very many ways. And we can see it, for instance, mostly in the agricultural sector. How the water quality will affect the yields and the different crop culture, how this will affect also the food and nutrition security. So in the ASEAN countries, for instance, for GGGI as an implementing agency on the green growth strategic side, we're helping the different governments and the different communities at different levels. So looking at the high level first is how we support them in terms of policy development. We are having this project since 2023 in Indonesia, consisting in enabling blue carbon policies into the government policies. So the Ministry of Forestry and Environment in Indonesia, as a focal point for the UNFCCC, what they were trying to achieve at that time is trying to create measurable steps to include the different blue carbon into their nationally determined contribution and national adaptation plans. What they were trying to do is really to address the different gaps existing in terms of technical skills, in terms of data management, in terms of research gaps, in terms of blue carbon capacities in the country and in the ASEAN region in general. For instance, in terms of data management, what they were trying to do, including as a step for the inclusion into the NDC, is looking at the biomass and either soil, the carbon for mangrove, and the biomass for seagrasses in the region. So trying to really having measurable data, the coastal areas monitoring, how is it evolving, how is the rate of deforestation, and so on. So that is one project that we are going since 2023. How we can be more, how can we be more ambitious in terms of NDC targets by really harvesting these blue carbon new opportunities that's growing in the countries, especially looking at the geographical characteristics of the ASEAN region, with 65% of the population in Indonesia, for instance, living at 50 kilometers around the coast. Another project that we're having is also for related to mangrove reforestation and restoration. This is called the nature-based solutions for climate-smart livelihood and Indonesia mangrove landscapes. So what we're trying to do is really, now we're not working at the national policy level, but we're looking at the community and local level. How we can give them ownership in the mangrove restoration projects. How can they really be involved into it? How can this contribute to the economic development in a local standpoint? So what we're trying to do is really in terms, when we compare it with natural, typical mangrove restoration projects, what we are doing is planting one species of mangroves. But what we're trying to accomplish with this project is really letting the nature do its own work. So it's based on an excavation process where we can see the pond collapse. Based on the pond collapsing, we will basically rely on the tidal flow effects due to the pond collapse, or the traditional ponds for shrimp aquaculture, for instance. So based on the tidal flow effects, this will bring naturally the different seeds for the mangroves, the right species of mangroves, and the reforestation of the areas. So this is naturally, the nature will select itself the right species of mangrove that are needed at a specific area. And based on this will restore the quality of the water and also restore the fisheries in this area. So we, through this, we could see that not only the population, local communities were able to not able to increase their income with shrimp aquaculture, but also crabs were also coming due to the new species of mangrove coming into this area. So this generated additional income. So that's another project that we did. It's still ongoing. It's still ongoing for 4 to 4 years. And it's also a model that is replicable, especially in Indonesia, in countries with a substantial mangrove potential. In another project that we did is also more on the global standpoint, like in the standardization and providing definition of what does it entail really when we say blue growth synergies. So we created this blue growth index, where basically we tried to show the different channels with which green economic and green growth models are linked to these blue economic models. So for instance, as mentioned before, we could see that the water management upstream will influence the different availability and the quality of the water available downstream. So, for instance, in some countries, we can see that the construction of dams actually block the water. So there is a water depletion downstream, and this will affect the coastal areas. And this is also affect the fisheries for the local communities. So this is create for them a loss of income. So we are trying and really looking at the linkages, like how we can, for instance, instead of having dams, how we can improve the use of renewable resources that will not affect the coastal areas. There is also the opportunities for biomarine fuels with the seaweed, for instance, seaweed farming. That could be definitely also another way for harvesting the potential from the oceans in terms of energy generation for the local communities. We are having also another project which is basically on Pacific Islands as well, which is this Pacific Green Entrepreneurs Network. We're providing technical advisory services on how we can build a business model which integrates blue and green economy aspects. We're also providing them with mentoring, training programs, looking at the feasibility studies in terms of the operational costs, initial investment costs, and so on. So we're really trying at looking not only to the policy side, but also into the investment aspects. Try to support the different SMEs in these different countries to harvest the potential of sustainable fisheries, sustainable aquaculture, ecotourism, and yes. So that's the different projects that we're having at GGGI right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Marion. I just caught the keyword and some keywords from what Marion remarked. But one of the keywords that I would like to draw your attention is aquaculture. So indeed now we are talking about the synergy between green and blue. We are not talking about the preservation or reforestation of mangrove itself or other plant. So we need to focus on the local livelihood. So how to make the local livelihoods, the lives, more sustainable. This is the key. So when we just focus on the reforestation or just the preservation of the mangrove or the nature, so it will lead to protest. So from the local. So we need to strike a balance between these two approaches. So indeed, now I'd like to invite our one of the panelists. He is a development practitioner in the field. So I expect him to share his real experiences from his works. Our third panelist is Mr. Sylvester Sales. He is a development management officer with over 15 years of experience in project development and management, including investment promotion and international cooperation in the fields of agriculture, fisheries, and environment. Currently, he works at the Mindanao Development Authority in the Philippines, where he supervises and monitors the implementation of the Bimpu-Yaga Priority Program and project for Mindanao and Palawan in the Philippines. So, Zales, so please come to the floor. So please welcome him with our applause.
Thank you, Mr. Haksok. And I would like to affirm the presentation made by our resource speaker, Dr. Borali. Indeed, mangrove is very important in the Philippines, specifically in Mindanao. Mindanao is an island. So we belong to the Philippine archipelago. We're located at the southern part of the Philippines. So as an island, we really found it important to conserve or strike a balance between development and conservation. So before I read the ones that are being prepared for this forum, let me introduce first MINDA, or Mindanao Development Authority. So we are a government agency in the Philippines. We were established in 2010 by a Republic Act. So our main function is to coordinate, harmonize, and integrate plans, policies, and programs for a holistic development of the island region. So Mindanao is composed of 27 provinces, divided into 6 regions, including the Bangsamoro regions. That's a newly created region in Mindanao. We're around 26 million inhabitants in Mindanao. So in general, Mindanao is an agriculture economy. It's driven by the agriculture, but not as agriculture per se as an industry. Agriculture as value chain. So the agriculture value chain plays a vital role in the economy of Mindanao. So in fact, 60% of our GDP depends on agriculture value chain. The two other sectors, services and industry, has been relying to the agriculture as a base economy of the country. So that's the need to really strike a balance between development and conservation as well as sustainability. In terms of projects, for mangrove projects, we have been piloting some projects in the coastal area. It's a project funded by BKCF, that's BIMP-IAGA Republic of Korea Cooperation Fund, and being managed by the GGGI. So we're very fortunate that we have several projects that are now generating outcomes. Then later on can be packaged into a policy recommendations for a holistic development, to guide holistic development in our island. So one of them is the mangrove conservations by thinking machines. So they're piloting a mangrove conservation area and as well as mangrove expansion area. So as mentioned by our facilitator, mangrove is really important. If we take a look at the industries in Mindanao, land-based industries and water-based industries. Mindanao is known for, when it comes to water-based or industries or marine industries, we have the tuna. In the Philippines, Mindanao is the tuna capital. So almost 90% of tuna, fresh and processed tuna, came from Mindanao. The other one is sardines. So sardines is also a very big industry in Mindanao. As, not just in Mindanao, but for the whole country and the Philippines. Most of the sardines being sold domestically and internationally came from Mindanao, specifically in Zamboanga area. Tuna is based in, you can search Google, it's in General Santos City. That's where our tuna capital are located. Another industry that is vital in Mindanao when it comes to water-based is our seaweeds industry. So almost 50% of the seaweeds production in the Philippines are located in Mindanao. So that's give us the importance of conserving the vital resource that will protect these industries, and that is mangrove. So given that, that project are being looked at, how can we sustain our mangrove forest? Because right now, we've been experiencing climate change impact that has never been experienced before. Among the three major islands in the Philippines, Mindanao before is typhoon-free. But right now, in the past 10 years, we've been experiencing typhoons once every 5 years, sometimes once every 3 years. But that has never been experienced before. So climate change really is at play. So this gives us the idea on how to sustain these industries in the face of climate change, especially those water-based industries. Another industries that I would like to highlight are cacao industries or the crops industries. One is cacao. We are the premium producer of cacao. And another one are fruits, tropical fruits. Some of you have been tasting the durian from the Philippines. Thailand, also Vietnam, they have durian, but I'm proud to say that our durian is unique. Okay. Then another one are pineapple and bananas. And coconut as well. These are our export agriculture-based industries. This is, if you can see the trade performance of the Philippines, banana, these tropical fruits are in the top 10, including tuna. These are the top 10 export commodities of not just Mindanao, but Philippines as a whole. It all came from Mindanao. So that's why we're very much encouraged to protect these industries. Now, right now, in terms of sustainability, we've been piloting one project also funded by BKCF, the cacao project. Now, among these tropical fruits, cacao is very much important to us because it's one of the main source of livelihood of our upland communities. So, when times goes by, before cacao, they're not fertilizing cacao, they're not managing it correctly, and yet they can get income out of it. But recently, our industries are clamoring. Our cacao are not bearing fruits anymore, or if it is bear fruits, it's only few fruits. So their livelihood are affected. So here comes nature-based solution, how to make them resilient and adapt the impact of climate change. So one project was able to develop a land management system that boosts the productivity of cacao by 280%. Meaning to say, it increases the yield of cacao from just 400 grams per tree to 2 kilograms per tree, using nature-based solutions and correct land management system. So this technology has potential to influence other agricultural practices to increase their yield. Because the main impact, direct impact of climate change to our agricultural, especially the smallholder farmers, is the declining yield per hectare. Aside from the damages that will be caused if typhoons and other calamities will come, the day-to-day effect of climate change to our smallholder farmers is the decline of yield over the years. So this project is very important in scaling up nature-based solutions and as well as conserving our very vital resource, that is our soil resource. So when we do classifications of our soils, we found out that Mindanao soils is very young. That's why it's good for tropical fruits. Okay, another important result of this study is they've been piloting how nature-based solutions in land management were able to improve carbon sequestrations and soil storage. So there is a assessment tools that has been made, and these one are being piloted, and we're ready to scale this up once a correct mechanism will be in place. So right now, what's missing in the picture is the platform, the mechanism and the platform itself. How to take advantage or how to take benefits of the existing carbon market that we are doing. So it's an opportunity in Mindanao to pilot this carbon trading program if we have. Okay, another project that we've been doing, still funded with BKCF, is the off-grid solar light system. So this project gives a solar light kit to 1,000 families in the coastal islands of Mindanao. The intention of the project is to provide the family with a light during night. But when they are implementing the project, a very good outcome turns out. These solar lights were being used by the fishermen during night when they're catching fish. Before, they're using a very costly battery or diesel fuel as they call it light boat. But with the solar lights that being provided to them, it helps them a lot. So it replaces the traditional way of catching fish by using expensive and fuel-based light boats. So the solar lights that intended for solar homes are now being used for fishing, supporting their livelihood. So that's a very good outcome of the project. Now, it's very effective in island provinces. As I mentioned earlier, Mindanao is composed of several islands, and only the mainland are connected in terms of grid, so electricity grid. Most of the island provinces are off-grid, so they're dependent on renewable energy. So that project helped us a lot, and we hope to influence the line agencies of the government how to scale up the existing project, and other ODAs how to serve other areas that needing this kind of intervention. Okay, several projects has been implemented, but these all interventions are models. We hope to scale this up and provide a policy framework that will sustain each of the good learnings that we have in this project, and also to make this project more inclusive. Now, development of Mindanao is being guided by what we call medium-term development plan. We call it Mindanao Agenda 2023 to 2028. But I would like to highlight the two agenda number 2 and agenda number 3. That's the water, energy, food nexus. That's agenda number 2. And agenda number 3 is trade industry development. These two agenda comes together and it guide us where to put or to direct interventions and other programs of the government. And we also encourage our business sector to align, especially those industries that I enumerated, the fishing and the agri-based industries, to align their management to a certain internationally accepted voluntary standards so that it will guarantee a sound management practices, traceability, and sustainability. Right now, most of the internationally recognized standards adopted by our industries. In fishing, I heard about MSC, that's Marine Stewardship Council for our sardines and tuna, and Forest Stewardship Council for some of our coffee and cacao products. For our plantations, they're adopting Global GAP and, of course, organic standards. So in essence, or as a summary, we all have these interventions as models, and we hope to scale this up, guided by the Mindanao Agenda 2023 and 2028. So, thank you, and I hope to participate in more discussions with the team.
Thank you, Charles. So indeed, he touched upon the importance of the nature-based solutions, so which we call it as an abbreviation, NBS. So since we are talking about the local people, so who is the most vulnerable, since they live in the border between the land and oceans, so they are simply vulnerable. So we need to focus on how to adapt their lifestyle in the face of the threats posed by the climate change. So it is really important. So just to say the mitigation is really important is not interesting to their eyes. So we need to focus on change their livelihoods. But in the response, so we need to think about how to their livelihoods more sustainable. So when we talk about the carbon, so we need to think about how the benefits of the new carbon transaction could be delivered to them. So this is the new area, so we need to think about. So indeed, I have last but not least panelist who is my close friend and from Mekong Institute. So let me briefly introduce him before he comes to the floor. So Mr. Madhurya Kumar Dutar, he is the director of the Trade and Investment Facilitation Department at the Mekong Institute, an intergovernmental organization of the Greater Mekong countries. Additionally, he serves as the director of the Mekong Republic of Korea Cooperation Fund. His career spans over 24 years in the development sector with significant contributions in areas such as trade, regional cooperation, and sustainable development. Mr. Duta has designed and implemented numerous development projects focusing on value chain integration, sustainable tourism, cross-border trade, digital trade, and sustainable transport and logistics. So now floor is yours. Please come to the floor.
Thank you very much. Very good morning to good afternoon to all the participants and the panelists and the moderator here. I'm very much thankful to the organizer and also the GGI to invite me for this forum. It is very important to be here because of the interactions and listening to the key speakers. I have enriched myself with very rich discussion in the panel today with the introduction remarks from Dr. Lee. So I'm here basically to share some experiences that we have been implementing in the Mekong countries. To give you a background, Mekong countries represent 5 countries in the Mekong region. That includes Cambodia, Laos, Myanmar, Vietnam, and Thailand. That represents the Mekong country. And then extended form is the Greater Mekong region. You might also heard about GMS, or the Greater Mekong. That includes 2 provinces of China, southern province, Yunnan and Guangxi province. And our organization, Mekong Institute, is an intergovernmental organization established by the 6 Greater Mekong sub-region countries. And I also look after the Mekong Republic of Korea Cooperation Fund. We have stepped in the 11th year of this fund since 2014. And so far, we have funded nearly 61 projects in 7 priority sectors, we call it. Environment is one, and where we are focusing a lot. In fact, we have nearly 17 projects ongoing in the environment sector. Let me share some of the key projects that we have been able to showcase and make some impact. One is related to creating a climate-related disaster hazard zoning mapping and improving the salinity intrusion in the lower Mekong Delta. One of the panelists already mentioned about the construction of dams in the upstream and how it impacts. So you might have already read in news that lower Mekong, particularly in the Mekong Delta, representing Vietnam, has a big impact on the environment, particularly on the communities which are living in the lower Mekong areas. So it has impacted a lot. So a lot of studies, a lot of projects have already been implemented in different aspects. Our project, what we funded to Can Tho provincial government, was basically to develop a kind of a mapping. So that was essential in the sense that monitoring the real-time impact or hazard warning was not in place to inform the communities or the villagers. So that was the main reason for creation of this project. At the same time, salinity intrusion is impacting a lot, particularly in the cultivation as well as in the aquaculture. So this project was addressing these issues, and through this project, we are able to develop hazard zoning maps. We have created 34 hazard zoning maps that is basically helping or providing information on hazard warnings and preparing plan documents. Through this project, we installed 3 real-time salinity monitoring stations in this location. And this has been done with rigorous consultation with the stakeholders. Our speakers also mentioned that stakeholder engagement is really important. Otherwise, whatever the government or the donor project is doing, do not take into consideration their engagement. So this project, what we made it very essential for the implementing agency, that they need to do some consultations. And this is basically the baseline we wanted to create. So the project implemented all the technical tools, GIS, and also other analysis they have done. And these analysis, throughout the process, they engage the local community leaders or the village commune and all. So that was a process of a thorough consultation, and so we are able to prepare those hazard zoning mappings and monitoring the setups. So we found that stakeholder engagement is very, very important. And one most important part is that as this was a very need-based, I would say demand-driven kind of a work, it is not an academic exercise to do a monitoring of data and some information are being used just for general official use or reports. But we wanted to link it with the production system, with the rice cultivation, as well as aquaculture. The baseline data has shown that the shrimp production has declined over the years. So that was one of the major livelihood of Kantau province, the people in the villages. So we noticed that, so this is something that we really wanted to address. And another one is the rice production, that was also in decline. Through the project intervention, we are able to monitor the salinity and also make impact in terms of the cultivation practices in aquaculture, and also preparation of the aquaculture beds, the fishery ponds, and doing necessary treatments for that. And it has also helped reduce in the salinity in the water system. Second, also in the rice production. So this has increased. Earlier, what the baseline provided was that the shrimp per kilogram was sold by the fishermen, by the farmers, nearly 1.5 to 2.5 US$ per kilogram. Because the shrimp size was low, people do not want to buy. The quality was very poor. Now we got this data from the Kantau province. They are exporting to the international market for 24 to 25 US$, depending on the price fluctuation. So you can see the margin. Okay, there are other costs, but this is the FOB price that we are talking about. So this is something we wanted to see the impact. I also acknowledge the importance of scaling up. Few of the speakers already mentioned. So what we are trying to see that the scale of the project was very limited because we have limited budget. But the issue is so huge, we cannot do with project size of $800,000 or $1 million. So what we are trying to build is to engage other development partners and even private sector. So basically to scale up, and also to try to see that how this can be mainstream in the national program as well as in the provincial program. So unless a project is able to demonstrate some tangible outcomes, all these reports will be meaningless because nobody is reading probably these reports that we produce. So unless we see the impact on the ground, there is no possibility, or limited possibility, I would say, for other development partners or even private sector or government to pick up the results. So I think it is very, very important. Another sustainability, I think, is important to link up with the institutions, R&D institutions, universities. So I think it is very, very important. Developing curriculum, especially we talk of this synergy here, I think it's very, very important when we do this kind of work. We need to engage the academic, particularly the universities who are already imparting similar education, to inculcate this type of new thoughts in their curriculum. So we can target the youths to be drawn in this kind of new disciplines or new areas of thoughts, and new researches can be built up in these areas. Another project that we are recently we have funded is on strengthening the academic and the community capacity for sustainable forestry and conservation. Here, basically, we are aiming on sustainable forestry practices. It is blue and green in the concept that we have also identified some forest in the mainland and also the mangrove. So in two locations, in Thailand and in Myanmar. So idea is to create some kind of model demonstration for mangrove forest and land-based forest. So to observe and see what kind of challenges and how involvement of local community for their ownership can be promoted. So this project is recently approved, so I do not have much information, but if any of you are interested, we'll be happy to share details so you can get engaged with these implementing agencies in Myanmar and Thailand, which are funded through the Mekong Republic of Korea Fund. So you can explore your interest and get engaged with them. Another important one of our flagship project that we funded is with the Yangon Technical University. This project is on capacity enhancement on wind energy uses for sustainable development in Myanmar and the coastal areas in the Mekong. In this project, we have trained the final year students of the electricity and mechanical engineering to develop kind of wind energy prototype, the turbine. So what we have done, we collaborated with one university in Korea as a technical support, and the students work with this technical support to develop the indigenous wind turbine. And the blades are basically, the blade of the wind turbine are basically used from the locally available resources, not the steel or something. So these blades are quite light, and it can move, and it is very natural based. And this has already been developed. We are now working on the IPR issues. I wouldn't say issue to the IPR process because it is now the ownership has to come. Most importantly, this project already identified 1,000 households along the coastal belt of Myanmar, which are off-grid, similar to what Mr. Silvester mentioned. And this will help them to provide electricity. And this is locally made product using the wind energy. It will help the fishing community, which are off-grid, and as well as the villages. This model, we are now inviting private sector. In fact, we already got interest from 2 companies who are taking interest to roll out on the commercial basis in the Mekong Delta. So this is at the trial error stage now. So the commercial model from this project is our second phase of the work. So under Mekong-ROK Cooperation Fund, our development projects are not just kind of, I would say, a charity or an aid. It is more creating some kind of business and investment models. I'm a little bit inclined to that, maybe because of my background, but my interest is more on the trade investment and on investments, basically on the sustainable and engaging the private sector. Unless we make use or involve the private sector in rolling out, I do not say that it has to really be on all the profit making, but that is also a model that we need to look into. Government support, donor support can only provide certain extent. You cannot continue with that. Many of the projects end when the project fund stops. So we have noticed that. In my whole career, I have worked in several projects. If I look back, not many of them are continuing because of lack of this business model. So ownership and sustainability, replication, all depends on the business model. And unless and until we have private sector interest built in such the effort for blue-green energy efforts, particularly on technology that we will talk about, will be limited. That is my opinion. I am open for any debate, but this is only my opinion. I do not put a statement here, so I'm open for any criticism. So thank you. That's all I wanted to share with you this afternoon. Over to you, Mr. Haksok.
Thank you, Doctor. So indeed, we don't have much time remaining. So for the sake of time, so I'd like to give questions to each panelist. But indeed, I prepared more than 3 pages of my questions, but I don't have any time. And also, I'd like to open the floor to raise your hand to give some questions. So before I proceed with these kind of pages, to my guests and panelists. So please feel free to raise your hand from the audience, and please be rude and to give some provocative question to us. So when you hear some points which you don't like, so then just raise your hand, or if you are really interested in the discussion, just raise your hand and I will give the floor to him, her at the time. So since I don't see any kind of hands-on, So let me just give my first question to Dr. Han, since he is the one waited too long, so I'd like to give the turn to him. So Dr. Han, so now you are work for the KMI, and KMI is the most representative agency in Korea in the maritime sector. Please tell that how KMI define and prioritize blue-green synergy in the approach to enhancing climate resilience in the Asia-Pacific through international partnerships.
Okay. Thank you. I think I a little bit touch upon that the question while I'm speak the first part, but I think I really like today's actually theme, blue-green synergy. Actually, as you mentioned, I'm working for KMI, and KMI is ODA, the Ministry of Oceans and Fisheries, ODA specialized agency. So while we are working with other the MoFoods agencies who implementing MoFoods ODA project, we are looking at their exemplifies their specialties for each institution, but looking at different ways, they need to affiliate or cooperate with other sectors. For example, Korea Forest Services, from the National Institute of Fisheries Science under MOF, they are working with Korea Forest Services, like I mentioned before, regarding Vietnam, the projects. So I think this is a very important and good project. The mangrove restoration project from the forest side, and also some aquaculture effort from the fisheries science side is very important. But what I'm looking at that project, it's going well and it's ongoing project, but some other, maybe second part, I have responded this to you, but some challenges regarding that. Ms. Marian talked about the white shrimp cases, something like that. And as you all know, there might be some disease while we are implementing aquaculture. So this kind of joint effort is very good, and if community is participating actively, it will be very good for job creation or the impact, the expansion. But we should be careful about the prevention of some kind of disease. So I want to emphasize the eco-friendly aquaculture, and then some feed should be very clean and sanitized. So that is very important issue to go on in the future consistently.
Thank you, Doctor. So my second question will go to Ms. Trevalosh. So Marion, so I know you have a lot of projects now you are working on in GGGI, since she is my colleague. But compared to other user projects, so what unique challenges and opportunities have you observed in terms of the blue-green synergy?
In terms of the blue-green synergy, I would say one of the challenges that we faced in Indonesia, for instance, for the implementation of the natural-based solutions for climate-smart solutions in mangrove landscape is the valuation of this wetland coastal ecosystem habitat it's not really a priority from the government side. So it's really difficult to evaluate what is the potential of these blue carbon sinks with the mangrove forests due to the intervariability, not only in the same site, so intra-site variability on the carbon potential, sequestration potential, but also at the regional and the national level. So that's one of the challenges that we faced. Also, another challenge was based on the land ownership. It's not always clear, especially for local communities. They have this customary land ownership, and it's not always respected. in terms of the rights for the land management, and this kind of lack of structure for the land management. Is it a seascape management? Is it a landscape management? Also between the different governance institutions, it's not really clear to whom we should report to. It's not really clear to whom should the benefit go. So that's two of the main challenges that we faced, for instance, in the mangrove landscape management projects.
Thank you. So indeed, we have only 4 and 30 seconds. So before proceeding, I'd like to double check whether we have a question from the audience. Yes, indeed. So you are most welcome.
Hello, thank you for your presentations. My name is Karolina Dziubata-Smykowska. I'm from Poland, and I have a question about the collaboration with local communities. Does your project include training or collaborations with local community, like not the professionals, the researchers, but just regular citizens? Are they somehow involved in your projects? Thank you.
So maybe the question can be answered by Mr. Dutta. Dutta, we have only 4 minutes, so just to be brief.
Thank you for your question, and thank you, Mr. Haksok. As I mentioned in the projects, it's very important under the projects that we are funding to have the local communities engaged. And these are not just attending meetings, these are 2 training programs. So they are specific customized training programs delivered in the local language. And we utilize sometimes to train the teachers, in the schools, and so that they can impart the local trainings. Also the local commune level or the province, the village level workers, so they are engaged with that. So this education is not just with the professionals, so it is basically filtered down at the local level. So it's more customized. One important message that I will share with you, that these trainings or the curriculums that we provide are not the static one. So there's a continuous updation. So we make it a system. So now systems are getting into online. So we have created a regional monitoring and evaluation system. So all the training materials, all the knowledge products are utilized in local language, and any region from that our region, Mekong region, they can download and make use of this as a reference material. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Dutta. And so my last question for the consideration of the time will go to Mr. Sales. So you are from Mindanao, so one of the most vulnerable island in the world. So how do you integrate blue-green synergy in your economic growth strategy? So can you please tell us?
Thank you, Mr. Haksok. Let me begin my answer by connecting it to the questions earlier raised. Community participation is indeed a very important process or steps in a very long process of development. In our government, because I'm from the government, it's a operational policy that before a program will be implemented or implementing, there has to be a consultation from the stakeholders themselves. So it is very important that the program that we are designing is based on the needs and aspirations of the stakeholders, the communities. Now, in terms of the looking at Mindanao in the face of climate change and other challenges, we really bank on the existing development agenda. It's a medium-term agenda, Mindanao Agenda 2023 to 2028. But this agenda, we align this to the overall development plan of the BIMP-IAGA. BIMP-IAGA is the Brunei, Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, East ASEAN Growth Area. It has a development framework which is transitioning now from a previous development framework to a new development framework come 2006 to 2000 and beyond. So the last development framework that we have is will end this 2025. So those vital documents, these are guiding us how to become more resilient and adaptive to the impact of climate change.
Thank you. So indeed, so our time has already exhausted. So let me just briefly summarize the kind of discussion we had so far. So I'd like to stress the importance of inclusivity and holistic approach. So since creation of this synergy cannot be done without holistic approach, we are talking about the marine and we are talking land. So we need to be holistic. And also without the participation and involvement of local persons, local communities, we cannot achieve what we expect in the implementation of the project. So we need inclusive, holistic approach to create the blue-green synergies in the face of climate changes and climate crisis. And thank you once again for your presence and contributions. And let us give one final big round of applause to our panelists and keynote speaker. Thank you so much for your presence.